when I'm walking in and I'm talking to people in any walk of life, there's certain things I look for first. It's like, okay, we need to make sure this is done. We need to make sure this, and it's kind of a sequential step-by-step process. Do you see when you're talking to businesses, it's something similar where there's, yes, every business is its own individual thing, but there's also things that like, we got to make sure we're doing this. And this is kind of the step-by-step process that I would follow for most people when I'm talking. Or maybe if that's not the case, like if there's someone out there who is a smaller business and maybe in their first couple of years and they're like trying to keep things going, get things up and running, like what are the big things that you're like, these are the things I see typically move the needle and that I think small businesses should be focused on?
Right. It's going to sound redundant, but if you keep having sticky points in your business and you have any kind of staff, you need to do personality assessments. I just can't say it enough. So one of the case studies that I'm working on.
Is it just specifically for rapport? Is that what you're kind of leaning towards? So how is that impactful?
So how it's impactful, if you have somebody who's supposed to be in a managerial role that is supposed to be somehow details focused and they struggle with details and the owner's like, but you said you were gonna blah, 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 right? And you just keep having that same conversation and you try coaching them and you try putting in place the system and you try all these things. Maybe you try 5 years worth of things and you still are just like banging your head against the wall. It's probably a personality issue, whether it's how the two interact.
But you don't think people can change that? That to me is the interesting part because I'm like, I think that people change so much.
You're just screwed, Josie. You'll never change. It's kind of suck for you.
Details.
Well, what do you mean by change? How about that?
So it's like you have the same conversation with people over and over of, okay, you need to be organized with this. You need to be like on time with this stuff. And then they continuously not do it. Is it a personality thing or is it a work ethic thing? You know what I'm saying? To where it's like, yeah, they might not be good at it, but they just have to learn, I
think that's a great question. Tell me about your experiences around that.
I
know what you're asking, and I know how I would answer this question because for me, what you're asking about is why I think systems are so important. Yeah. Because systems are going to basically show what should happen. This is how it should work. So take a franchise that we all know, McDonald's. McDonald's has very clear systems. So anybody can walk in and say, this is the way it works. And a great book on this is The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. He is this is one of the best books on this subject because he says that every small business owner, regardless of where you're at, should treat their business as a small franchise, but not as a small franchise, but as a franchise that ultimately you could scale and sell. Yeah. And so and there's another book that's called The Ultimate Sales Machine where he says, imagine if today you were going to have to hire 50 people to do your job. And then next week you had to hire another 50. And the next week you had to hire another 50. Do you have a system in place where you could show them this is the way, this is step by step the process? And I think that the processes are what are going to bring out how it should work. And then that married with these personality assessments are going to help you identify who the right people are for this role. And for smaller businesses, because there's a lot of people out there is like, well, that's great, but I have no budget. I'm a one-person army. Yeah. I think for those people,
or even because I know there's a lot of people in there that are not people focused at all, very, very much introverts. But for a lot of business, you just have to start talking to people. And so I think that can't those be learned skills?
So some of them are learned skills, but I think Robert gave a really great example early on when he said he's the in-person person or the front-facing person versus Grayson, who's the back end.
Exactly.
Right? Grayson can be up front facing. Yes. Like I've seen him at biz meetings. He's well-spoken. He's eloquent. But he doesn't thrive there. And so if we're talking about creating a life where we're thriving or a business where we're thriving, I think taking the balance of learned skills, but making sure people are someplace where they're like excited to be is going to have the greatest impact.
Yeah. And for me, a lesson I learned, actually, I learned this with my wife. This was before we were married, but we were moving over her investment accounts. And this was back when I wasn't doing a great job of keeping things organized because that is not my skill set. I am not you've seen it. It's like just getting Robert to respond to an email, clients, I'm sorry. I honestly look at emails maybe every 2 to 3 days. Their advisor friends of mine are like, how do you do that? And I peruse. So if there's something important, I catch it. I'm like, I'm going to get to that in like 2 days from now. So I realized what I was lacking on, and I came up with systems for myself that would force me to get things done the right way, but I was never happy. Like, let's use this as an example. Up until recently, I've been the one editing all these videos.
Yeah.
I've learned how to do it. I know how to do it. I hate doing it because it's just like frustrating to me because it's not where I thrive. And so again, it's something that for a time I had to do. I just didn't have the budget, to make it work the other way. But then it's like, okay, all the stuff we've been doing has been bringing in a ton of business. And so now it's like, all right, instead of taking this money and be like, haha, I'm making more money. It's like, no, I'm going to reinvest this. I'm going to hire another I'm going to hire someone who handles all the video editing so that we can consistently do this. But that is like, I built a system. I know how it works. Now I could see what it should look like. But then I can also very quickly identify this is not my strong point. And I think that's what a lot of your training that we've been going through is like, I have built everything from the ground up with Nexus of how it should be done. There's things I've taken from a lot of people that I learned, but it's like the reason I'm great at every aspect of the business because I've done every aspect of the business. Now, I don't think that has to be the way it goes moving forward is that you should eventually get to the point where like not everyone has to be an expert at everything. Like Stephanie, when on our last podcast, she said something. It was like, if you can get someone to do a job that you do like 80 to 90%. Yep. Yeah. You knew what I was going to say. Is that something?
It's in the book.
Is it? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So she said, if you can get someone to do a job as well as you at 80%, let them do that job. Go do something else. And that is kind of like where Nexus is at right now. Like you're at like 30% of how good I can do things, so.
That makes sense. I've been doing it less than a third of the time.